The CoRT thinking program, an all-encompassing approach to teaching thinking, has transformed the way both children and adults approached problem solving. Within its domain, generative and creative thought merged with operational and constructive thinking to form the backbone. In a small classroom, a diverse group of students from various age groups huddled together, awaiting their next thinking lesson. Mrs. Roberts, a passionate educator, stood before them, ready to impart her wisdom. Her eyes twinkled with enthusiasm as she addressed the eager faces in front of her. Class, today we will dive into the mind-boggling world of CoRT thinking. Are you all ready to unleash the power of your minds? She exclaimed. She began the lesson by explaining, CoRT thinking is like a toolkit that equips us to solve any problem thrown at us. Today, we will focus on the concept of generative and creative thinking. Can anyone tell me what these terms mean? A young boy named Tim eagerly raised his hand, his face beaming with anticipation. Generative thinking is like planting a seed in your mind, Tim explained. You brainstorm ideas, like a seed sprouting and growing into a tree with branches filled with possibilities. Mrs. Roberts nodded, impressed by Tim's understanding. Excellent, Tim. And what about creative thinking? Creative thinking is when you take those branches of ideas and nurture them with imagination, replied Chloe, a young girl sitting beside Tim. You find new ways to connect and combine the branches, creating a beautiful, unique tree of thoughts. The class burst into applause, celebrating Chloe's insightful contribution. Exactly, Chloe. Mrs. Roberts exclaimed. Now, let's put our generative and creative thinking hats on. I want each of you to think of a problem you've encountered recently. It could be big or small. Once you have your problem, I'll give you a few minutes to generate as many solutions as possible using your generative thinking skills. After that, we'll apply our creative thinking to refine and transform those solutions into innovative ideas. The students exchanged eager glances, enticed by the prospect of solving real-life problems through their newfound skills. Pens and papers danced across the room as they brainstormed fervently, filling the air with a palpable energy. As the timer beeped, signaling the end of the generative thinking phase, Mrs. Roberts encouraged her students to shift gears. Now, let's apply our creative thinking. Think outside the box and breathe life into your ideas. Imagine the possibilities. One by one, the students shared their solutions, transformed by the creative thinking process. The classroom buzzed with excitement, each idea more innovative than the last. Mrs. Roberts guided them, helping to refine their ideas and encouraging them to dig deeper. The bell rang, reluctantly signaling the end of the session. The students sat back in their chairs, transformed by their journey through CoRT thinking. They realized that thinking was indeed a skill to be cultivated and applied in any situation.